Welcome to Sage Audio. Today we're talking about how to make a balanced mix. To get the most from your music, consider watching the entirety of each chapter because each chapter builds from the previous to create a complete understanding of the topic. And feel free to use the progress bar at the top of the video to track your progress. First, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com to receive a free mastered sample of it. Use Frequency Analyzer as guide. Although we should always use our ears when we're mixing, our frequency analyzer can give us a good indication of a mix's frequency balance or imbalance. Low frequencies take the most energy to hear, so these will typically have the greatest amplitude, and the curve will gradually slope downward from there. Each mix will be a little different, but this is the typical pattern. Also, keep an eye on 6 to 9 kHz, since if you have excessive frequencies, it'll show up here. Let's use a tilt filter to illustrate this idea. Consider stereo image. Another tool we can use is an image analyzer. We typically want to see a fair amount of the signal in the center image or as a mono signal. This is going to keep the mix driving and focused. That said, we don't want to have a completely mono signal, so use this and your ears to find a good balance. If you're finding that a lot of your signal is located on the sides, reconsider how you're panning. If this expansion is a result of phase cancellation, of which you have little to no control, use a mid-side EQ on the offending instruments and attenuate the side image's lows. Let's take a listen. If you're enjoying the video, consider hitting the like button. It really helps us bring you more videos. Kick and bass separation. Arguably the hardest section to balance in the mix is the low frequency range, probably because it's such a cramped space with multiple octaves spanning only a few hundred frequencies. We need to separate our kick and bass tracks with some EQ to solve this problem. I'm gonna find the kick's fundamental and boost it slightly. This will work well since the frequency of the kick usually stays the same unless it's a tuned 808. Then I'll dip this frequency on the kick. Additionally, I'll saturate the bass instead of using additive EQ to amplify its fundamental, since this will change when the bass note changes. Let's take a listen. Bass and kick balance. With the kick and bass separated, let's control their dynamics. Typically, we want our bass to be more controlled and our kick to be more dynamic. To do this, I'm going to use low-level compression on the kick and bass, and then I'm going to use downward compression on the bass. I'll use the kick as an external sidechain so that the bass is attenuated when the kick hits. I'll do this by only a few dB. Let's take a listen. Ensure no excessive overlap. If you're the one producing or engineering the mix that you're working on, you'll have more freedom as to what you can emit from a mix. That said, some instrumentation may simply be incompatible. This is often a frequency overlap issue, like with the kick and bass. For example, say I have a bass part playing a higher octave and a piano or synth playing a lower. If these two can't be separated, we may need to delete one to keep the mix balanced. Let's take a listen to an example of this. Only a small percentage of people that watch our videos are subscribed, so if you're enjoying the video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Dynamically control vocal. Having a dynamically controlled vocal is important when making a balanced mix, more so than other instrumentation. I like to use 3 compressors for this: peak down, RMS down, and low level or upward compression. This controls the vocal from multiple directions and using different measurements. I'll set a quick attack for my peak down compressor to capture a lot of the vocal and compress it by 3 to 6 dB. For my RMS, I'll use only 1 to 2 dB of attenuation, and for upward, I'll get about 6 dB. Let's take a listen. Try Soothe on vocals. Although this isn't my favorite plugin since it adds small but noticeable phase anomalies, Soothe can be used on vocals to dynamically reduce resonant frequencies and balance it in your mix. If you use this plugin, be sure to keep the depth pretty low and to use high quality rendering. By reducing resonance, the overall spectrum will become more balanced and give you a smooth vocal for the forefront of your mix. Let's take a listen. If you're interested in our custom plugin presets, audio samples, loops, MIDI packs, download sheets, and more, join and become a member, and if you change your mind, you can cancel anytime. Use reverb to shape frequencies. Some of the spectral balancing of your mix should be left up to your reverb. This will give your mix more character while keeping it balanced. For example, instead of boosting high frequencies on the snare, I could send the snare to a reverb and boost the reflection size. So instead of the dry signal balancing the spectrum, you get some more interesting reflections filling in this space. Let's take a listen. Check Mixbus's image. Last up, let's look at the image of our full mix. Odds are some unwanted lows moved into the stereo image. So let's use a mid-side EQ and attenuate the side image's lows. I'll cut up to about 100 Hz and then determine if more or less is needed. Although I typically avoid processing on the full mix bus, this will keep our lows mono and the mix more focused. Let's take a listen. If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us at sageaudio.com to receive a free mastered sample of it. Thank you so much for watching.